Is it started already? Yeah, good. So welcome and thank you for all that joining us for our final meetup of the two in this sunny, hot, warm day in Sydney. If you are in Sydney, it's the very rare times now I can wear a t-shirt. Really great to meet all of you. It's December and we are approaching Christmas and New Year. So we wish everybody ahead of time Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. These are our final meetup sessions of the year, and from next year we speakers and valuable topics to ensure our meetup events is always a successful one to bring knowledge, excitements, and connections for our communities. While waiting for many more attendees to join from any part of the world, let me introduce, can you move to the next slide, please? Let me introduce our current Sydney Meetup leader if you haven't known about us yet. I work in the solution engineering team within MuleSoft, and we have Harshana from MuleSoft customer success team on the panels today as well. Satish Tidas is the integration practice lead of Capgemini, our MuleSoft partners who has supported many of our customers rolling out MuleSoft integration projects. If you need to reach out to us, the Sydney Meetup leaders just navigate to the Sydney chapter Meetup site URL here below. You'll find all our contact details. For those who are new to our Sydney Meetup events, please feel free to check out all our historical events on this website. We have most of the recording posted on this website for all the historicals virtual meetup. We are very excited. Next slide, please. We are very excited and honored this time to have invited Yossi, the solution engineer in MuleSoft, to share with us the benefit of MuleSoft Runtime Fabric on the Red Hat OpenShift platforms. Yossi is going to explain and show you all the different containerized deployments options as well. And meanwhile, there are some of the event logistics. If you can move to the next slide, please. We will start with a few key announcements while waiting for many more attendees to join in before diving into our speaker contents today. I hope all of you stay until the end of the sessions because we have our usual trivia contest at the end, and we will be giving away many wonderful MuleSoft prizes and goodies to the winner. Throughout the sessions, all audience line will be muted. Please post any of your questions via the Q&A link. Soon I'll be sharing in the chat window. We won't be picking up any question from the chat windows directly. So please make use of the link to post your questions. And the presenter slide and recordings will be shared within the next 24 to 48 hours on the same events page that you register for the events today. So for anyone that missed out, you can always come back to the page to really watch the recording or download any of the material that our speaker is going to share with you today. Without further ado, I'm passing over to Harshana to start our today's announcement. Harshana, it's to you.
Thank you very much, Eva. Hope you can hear me.
Yep. Oh, good.
Oh, thank you. So today's announcement, we actually have a couple of exciting new details coming out came out from MuleSoft. So I'll start with the product releases. So we have a number of platform updates that has taken place within the last couple of weeks, I would say, because these are the updates that we had from the last meetup itself, which is in October. So we had just released the Runtime Fabric 2.1.0 version. It's pretty interesting because we are actually talking about 2.0, but it's in general like what we have brought in 2X series rather than 2.0 specifically that we are going to do today. So there are more changes that happened within the last couple of weeks that we have released the 2.0 and the 2.1. So it's interesting times ahead. The second one is actually the Anypoint Studio 7.14 version. With that, we actually released two major improvements to the platform. So now you could actually use the Anypoint Studio itself to deploy your Cloud Hub to private spaces and the shared spaces. At the same time, we have done quite a lot of performance improvements, especially on the memory front. You can see within the release notes that within these links, and go there and check what kind of improvements that we have done. In addition to that, we have released the Anypoint CLI version 4. I'm pretty sure you already know about that one. On the Anypoint MQ front, we have released intelligent message routing rules, which is actually a customer idea that for the ideas portal that we have received. So it's an interesting one that our product team has picked up from the ideas portal and delivered upon that request. And in October, we actually went through the MFA enforcement on the Anypoint platform. Around that time, we had actually lagged using the connected app support for the Anypoint MQ or the Object Store version 2. And we have just released the features to support the connected app for Anypoint MQ and the Object Store version 2. Around the same time, we actually enforce the MFA requirements, because without this particular support, it's pointless of asking people to jump to the connected app. So we identified that and we delivered upon that. On the Cloud Hub 2.0 front, we have delivered the log points and the reporting features. So you can actually read upon all these things from the links that we have attached here. On the Universal API Management, which is our latest API management set of features coming out, is interestingly, we have released the Flex Gateway 1.3.0. So something that you may have noticed if you have went to Flex Gateway 1.3 is actually there have been a number of improvements, including the installation steps itself. In addition to that, we added the MTLS support for the inbound endpoints in the local mode. We added O2 policy support with third-party IDPs. Unfortunately, you still cannot use it with the Anypoint IDP, but you can now use with the third-party IDPs like Okta, Ping Identity, and so on. You can now actually set the execution order for your policies. Previously, it wasn't possible. So with this release, you can do that as well. And we actually now support new deployment targets, RHEL, and a couple of new platforms that we supported from this release onward. The API governance had a couple of improvements coming through as well. I believe it just released a couple of days ago. So you may have not seen these particular changes, but there are new features coming through to that as well. The last one is actually the MuleSoft solutions updates. So regularly, we actually keep updating a number of connectors that we have. So on top of those connectors, we have additionally the Azure Key Vault connector. That's a completely new connector. We actually improving the Salesforce Market Cloud REST connector, which is actually like we identified as a critical part of the ecosystem. We actually improved our existing couple of accelerators. We released the healthcare accelerator as well as the retail and consumer goods accelerator. If I'm not mistaken, there will be more updates coming to like financial services as well as the healthcare accelerators like within the next couple of weeks. Last part on this announcements is actually the MuleSoft Direct for Salesforce Industry Cloud. So what this means, this actually allows you as the Salesforce customer to utilize like a MuleSoft with a couple of clicks. So if you are a Salesforce customer and then you are a like org administrator, you can actually go and unlock these MuleSoft Direct features very quickly from your platform, and then enable to do very quick like industry-based integrations. For example, if you are on communications, there are standards for communications. If you're on healthcare, you have the HL7 and FHIR. If you are on financial services, we have the BIOM. So like different standards for different industries, this means like you can actually template these things. So the MuleSoft Direct is actually that way of enabling those templated like integrations from different industry clouds that we have for Salesforce ecosystem. So with that, I will actually hand over to Yossi. But the last point I want to mention is actually the upcoming event that we have. So we have 35 different events in December altogether, but we will have like 12 more events going to happen from today until the end of December. So please go to the MuleSoft events page and make sure to check what the upcoming events are, and then make sure to subscribe to some of these events because there are quite a lot of important topics in there. So the last point I want to highlight is actually the becoming a MuleSoft mentor. This is actually your way of coming back and giving back to the ecosystem. You can actually quickly like the entry criteria is pretty simple. I will say, because all these like all the people that we have here are like pretty much like MuleSoft certified people, mostly I would assume. So it's just like on top of that certifications, what you need is like your motivation and your eagerness to come and join the ecosystem. So apply it through this particular link and it will help you to build your personal and professional brand, as well as you will help the others to jump their skill set as well. One last thing before I hand over is the last event that had happened last week in Melbourne. So we had the Melbourne MuleSoft Meetup group actually covering Cloud App 2.0. So I have included the recording link as well as the YouTube link here. So if you want to quickly scan and then highlight that particular link or keep that particular link with you, you can quickly do it, or you can actually go back and join the MuleSoft Meetup group in Melbourne and watch this particular Cloud Hub 2.0 meetup, because I joined this one and I really enjoyed the details in there. I really enjoyed the demo that they have done during that time period. So it was really good. Now the interesting part, that's actually Yossi delivering. So Yossi.
Thank you, Sana. I should be able to share my screen. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me actually stop and you can do it.
All right. Well, we're doing. Okay. So, sorry. Let me share my screen. Maybe it's good I introduce myself. First of all, hello everybody. I'm Yossi, a solution engineer here in MuleSoft. I guess some of you are meeting on the first time. Maybe a little bit about myself. I actually come from an engineering background. I have over 25 years of experience in engineering. I started as an engineer, tech lead, engineering managers. Obviously, very passionate about integration. For some reason, through the years, I was always dealing with integration, many languages like Java, .NET, Camels as integration, a lot of any other, I think over many of them that I had to support. And I guess the reason why I mention it, I actually worked half of my career with media companies. I came from a customer called Channel 9. I don't know if you guys familiar. Channel 9, one of the biggest, I guess, media company in the APAC region. They do TV, they do radio, they do Sydney Morning Herald. Over there, I was an engineer manager, managing many systems for the broadcast. And this is where I actually got introduced into MuleSoft. I was actually using it. In fact, I joined during a migration between Mule 3 to 4. And for some of you who have done it, you know how challenging it was. So I was there, but I also saw the value that it brings into the product. And this is why I'm here today. So just a little bit about myself, and then we will kick straightly into the session. Um, okay, so today we're going to be discussing on deploying and managing Anypoint Runtime on OpenShift. And our agenda will be quite straightforward. I will give a bit of a runtime fabric overview, given we have, a variety, and we have audience over here that some of them are familiar, some of them are not. We will discuss about runtime and OpenShift and what is the benefits and the architecture that we're introducing. A little bit about Red Hat and OpenShift, and again, it will be a little bit because we're going to present it purely from the MuleSoft side of things. Demo, so I'm hoping to do a quick demo of how do you install runtime fabric and how do you then deploy an application, which you see it's quite easy. Then we'll share a customer win story, one of the latest customers, a big bank in America, which I thought a good story to end. And what can you do later to start, learning it by yourself or even start experimenting. So I really like these slides. This is actually reminds me of my day when I used to engineering. We all have to, we took our software, we deploy it, we put it on our test environment, never works. And I always used to say, well, it used to work on my machine. And that's it. And it does happen to us. Interesting, when we start introducing Kubernetes and containerize, because of the big orchestration, and it needs to connect it to so many areas, the opposite start happening. Now, it doesn't work on my machine, it works on the containers. And I think it actually brings me to this session that we're going to speak today, because it is a containerized and Kubernetes approach. Now, as we all know, containerization is the new standards. Now, I'm going to actually throw a number over here, and I do encourage you just to type in the chat. I know we said, but just to type in the chat. When you say about 69, what do you think is the number? You can throw whatever you want. If you don't feel like throwing, it's also okay. So I'll give it maybe 1 minute. What do you think the number 69 represents? Anyone?
We have a today. Um,
Oh no, they can just type in
yeah,
the
yeah,
Slack
of
if they.
course.
I don't. If not, I'll give it maybe 10 seconds. And all right, it's okay. I, okay, someone has typed it, or I obviously sorry, I don't know to read. What does
Someone's
it mean?
typing some Chinese characters in there.
Okay, well that's great. I'm sure it's something good. Intend to move to a conversation. You know what? I think I like this. Chris, you're spot on. Yes, so I like this spot on. Grace, that's a good one. So we know 60 sign of, and this is for research that we have done with our partner Deloitte. 69% of organization are taking a top-down approach. And when you say top-down approach, they're actually trying to use Kubernetes and containerize as their technologies and the way they deploy and manage their application. And as part of it, we want to also support MuleSoft. And this gives me to another number, 29. What does everybody think? What is 29 means? What is the number 29 represents? I like that. Did you see you spot on, immediately? I give it maybe 30 seconds. It's coming, If not, I will show you guys. All right, so what does 29 mean? Unfortunately, 29 means that only 29 of, even in MuleSoft and even my provide, only 29 of them are application integration. It remains quite difficult. So we need to change things. So to grow and innovate and speed, customers do need a standard integrated solution that provide flexibility without the compromise of security. And this is something very, very important because we need standards, and we also can't actually compromise on security. We all know how it is important, and as well is because we have many stuff that are not integrated. And this brings me, how does MuleSoft actually help to those customers and helps us to achieve? And this is just a reminder, what is the deployment option that we have at the moment on the market? First of all, we have Cloud Hub, and we just released Cloud Hub 2. But just released, actually been more than just, it's all for a year, and it's a fully managed iPaaS. This is where we recommend most of our customers, and this is what you find most of our customer use. The reason is there's less overhead of hardware and maintenance. We maintain it we maintain it for you, as well with Cloud Hub 2, which is quite exciting, something that our customers really, really like. It is a containerized based approach, but we encapsulate it for you. We recommend customer to do it. However, for customer that already have in place, and I've been to organization that has been, that already have deployment in place, for example, on AWS, on Azure, on Google, this is where Runtime Fabric comes to the picture and can help you to manage and to integrate, because you want to do it, or our customer wants to do it as part of the current process. Now, with OpenShift, we have actually realized, and this is what we had to come up with, is that there is a lot of overhead of managing those Kubernetes and those containerized. And this is what we came with OpenShift. You'll see very soon. There's a lot of less overhead requirement, and there's also the security that comes part of it. Also, because we able to deploy on Red Hat, we able to provide even more places that you can deploy your environment: Linux, Windows, VM machines, and it's open the options for our customers. The last option, we have the option on premises and data centers. You can still do the naked mule if one of you are using. Obviously, we recommend Runtime Fabric for many reasons that I show you very, very soon. But the great thing with OpenShift, they will be able also to use containerized architecture on those VMs. So, and a lot of our customer already have those VMs that or construction that they want to use it, and this is where we actually see that it's quite benefit. And then bring me to, well, what does actually Runtime Fabric provide me? So first of all, Runtime Fabric, I can actually central manage all application. I go to one place, I can manage the cloud as well as the hybrid and self-manage. There's CI/CD tools. With the new architecture, it all runs based off Kubernetes on containerized approach. And this obviously brings benefits. First of all, it's a big part of the big open source with benefits from a lot of innovation. It's dynamically scalable. You'll be able to have extra monitoring. And when it comes to patching and security, it's something that's very, very important. Easy to do it, especially when you have many applications around it. The last thing, and this is something that our customer really like, I personally like, but I see also a lot of customers that I wait for them. It is quite easy to do, and you'll see it's it's a few clicks. You'll be able to set it up and to deploy an application, which you will see later in the demo. And this brings me to the next place, or the next is, where do I choose runtime from? It is very, very important because sometimes customers choose it for the wrong place. We know, according to research we done with our partners and Deloitte, that 30% of Kubernetes initiative do fails. So we need to also know, when do we use this approach? First of all, infrastructure. A lot of the customers already have AWS, Google in place, and they want to leverage Runtime Fabric again as part of it. They deploy not only one application, they have the all enterprise solutions and platform they want to do. Secondly, you already have expertise on Kubernetes, and this is again something very, very important. Someone in house has to have knowledge around it, because there is requirement of Kubernetes and the knowledge of containerization. There's already initiative in place. Another thing that customers really, really want is the need for automation and installation. You can actually, you know, you can deploy it on your own environment. You can control then the security and create the standards that meets whatever your organization and what our customers needs. It is suited, and what we see mainly is those highly restricted government or finance, and they have a lot of compliances they have to meet, and they want to control the way they've access, those environment and the way they deploy it. Now, let's go and start speaking about Anypoint Runtime Fabric and try to understand what are we changing and what do we had to come up with OpenShift and Runtime Fabric. So we all know MuleSoft are easily deployed to Cloud Hub, and 90% of our customers, I'm sorry, I'm 90%, but I might say that many of them are actually using it. However, there's a lot of time that customer already have the trust and boundaries that they have, they need to trust. For example, I've seen a lot of customers, we have their own virtual network, and they can only access it, via this specific network configuration. And because they want to do it and they want to use as part of this VM, this is what Runtime Fabric enable you to achieve it. Now, we came up with OpenShift, but before we actually want to discuss about OpenShift, let's just maybe remind us who are those companies that are actually behind OpenShift. So as we all know, we all have MuleSoft of his. MuleSoft is the leading enterprises integration platform. It's been announced by Gartner that we are the leader in iPaaS as well as full life API cycle managers. We've also released, the UPIM now that you're able to manage your non-Mule API. So we're leading in the market. We're also leading when it comes to, speed of a project. I've done it, I've seen it, but as well as a lot of our customers, it is faster. And we also support the API-led approach for best practice to meet your organization and innovation. And then on the other side, we have Red Hat, which is also being bought by IBM as well. Again, one of the world's leading provider of enterprise open source. They have 30 Android hybrid platform clients, plus they've added 1,000 last year. With them, the infrastructure, the management of infrastructures are more and more efficient. And there is a lot of, as you can see, the numbers, return of an investment. Then it brings me, well, if MuleSoft is a great integration platform, Red Hat is an open source powerhouse, what happens if you bring those two together? So what's benefit those two companies brings together? Together, we will be able to quickly, create and modernize based of Kubernetes approach, but also streamline the operation. And this is what the benefit that our customers really, really see. It's the overhead and the maintenance and even the easy of understanding. For me, when I even and one of our customers that start to use it, it's quite easy place that I can go and understand and streamline my operation. Now, let's go. How do we actually change the operation point of view before we will know what the value this is bring to me? So, typical organization, or some of them have many environment. You can have your AWS, your Azure, Google data centers. So before the OpenShift and Runtime Fabric, you have to go to Azure and AWS and Google, and you have to manage Kubernetes using those control planes and using the knowledge in those area. But a lot of our customers, and I've been one of them, they have a few of them. So then first of all, it's required you need to have knowledge on each one of them. And as well, when it comes to management, there's a lot of overhead because it's different areas. With OpenShift, again, there's one control plane which you'll be able to manage all your nodes, all your plots. You'll be able to scale. You'll be able to apply patches. Same when it comes to MuleSoft. Runtime Fabric allows you one control plate. You go into our system. You manage all your application, whether it's on cloud app, on prep, to one place. And again, when I'm under pressure or when I need to deliver a lot of those, a lot of initiative, this is something that we see really value. And this bring me into what values does this bring to me? So first of all, time to value. And time is very important, as I said, especially when you need to release something or production issues. Process and people. Let's start first with process and people. We write once and deploy anywhere. With MuleSoft, as we all know, we provide the catalyst as well, which is a great. It's not only supply you the platform, we supply you also the tool, the processes to do it quickly, and a step-by-step guide to be able to set up those environments. MuleSoft Exchange have plenty of connectors and template. If I'm a customer over here and I need to meet, for example, a digital transformation, we provide a lot of those connectors and accelerator to be able to ramp up quickly. And great thing when it comes with a Red Hat OpenShift, they have the concept of operators. They certify them. Again, a trusted ecosystem, we'll see very soon, but also operators you see very soon, easy to install. And with a few clicks, I'll be able to install the runtime fabric as part of it. So first thing is time to value. Secondly, application modernization. Obviously, it is a containerized based on what latest security will be able to apply and meet scalability and dynamically and be able to be leader in those market. Reduce operational complexity, and this is coming back to what we see and what we had to come up with it, because what we realized there is the management of Kubernetes is quite high and the knowledge the required is quite complex. So we wanted to simplify to our customers. This on the long term will save cost because time and effort that required. Workload portability. Apps on OpenShift are deployed to any supported cloud provider. Again, you can use it on your premises, and wherever we can deploy Red Hat, we can then manage runtime fabric. And a lot of customers wanted even to deploy it to some of the IBM environment. With this new release, they will be able to support it. Automated security, both sides, as you all know, or if you don't know, MuleSoft provides security throughout all the API lifecycle, as well as Red Hat from the infrastructure point of view. Enterprise standardization is something, again, very, very important when when I have, because I need to maintain standards. MuleSoft on OpenShift is an integration platform to connect any application, and whether in or on premises or whether it's on cloud, you have this unified way to do it. Composable apps, again, something that's very, very, very important when it comes to MuleSoft, is I be able to reuse it throughout all the development cycle. This is where we different, and especially now with the RPAs that we provided, we open the arena to so many other industries and also so many other initiatives to the customers. We support hybrid cloud. You can do on-prem and on your private cloud. And another thing which I really like, avoid vendor lock-in. If you want to move tomorrow, and again, or some organization or in a position they want to move, using this approach, they will be able to do it faster and don't have to have those vendor lock-in on AWS or Azure. Lastly, before I go straight to the demo, because I'm sure you're all looking forward to the demo, it is a trusted ecosystem. A lot of our customers, when they choose us and Red Hat, they get a lot of support from us. As we all know, we have great customer success, big account executive. We want our customers to be successful. We help them. We have certified operators and connectors, so that's rest assured that the security has been, security is first and top for all of us. As part of being the open source community now, and Kubernetes mean you benefit whatever the open source community brings with it. And it's an enterprise ready solution. We know that 90% of the 500 Fortune use Salesforce and Red Hat, so it is a trusted ecosystem. Lastly, talent. I think talent is very, very important. Again, I was an engineer manager and I needed to hire a lot of people. The market, as Salesforce, as well with IBM, we certified people. There is community. You know that if you need to get talent, it's something that's very, very easy for you. And you can easily access the information with our community, whether it's LinkedIn. We have the meetup here, as well as just public communities. We're there, and this is why our customers normally choose, and this is why I find it quite easy when I had to actually ramp up my knowledge. And now we're jumping straight to the demo. So what are we going to see in the current demo? We're going to see two things. First of all, we will set up a runtime fabric cluster. You will see using the operator and using our platform, it's easy to be done. It will be quite quick, you will notice. And then second, what we do is we'll deploy an application on runtime fabric. We'll be able to then maybe observe some logs, and just maybe discuss about what are the benefits that I see in control planes, and then the benefits that comes with Red Hat OpenShift. Now, before I start with the demo, I want to actually share with the challenge that I used to face, and some of our customers, I'm sure you do the same. We all under pressure, a lot of time to deliver by the business needs, and especially when I need to, there's a production issue and there's issue I need to solve. I always used to want to go to one place, not to go to many other places. As well, something when you choose a new platform, I want something that it's, I'd be able to install it quite easy. With Kubernetes before, you need to set up the VPC, the Kubernetes. I find if something that it's easy for me to use, I will be able to then operate and manage it easily. So now we're going to see how using, OpenShift and Runtime Fabric, we will be able to make our life, and when I say our life, it's our customers' lives easier, and as well be able to ramp and speed faster. So let's go to the demo. So the demo starts, from Anypoint platform. Again, this is where we actually managing the runtime fabric. And the first thing we're going to do, we're going to set up a runtime fabric on OpenShift. To access, you can either access Runtime Fabric from here on the left side of the menu. Again, easy access, one place, I know where to go. Then we go to Runtime Fabric. This is where I create a Runtime Fabric environment. As you can tell, I already have Runtime OpenShift running, but for the sake of demo and just to see, I will start showing you what is the step involved. And then we come back just in the absence of time and see after we set up things, what is the operational that comes as part of it. So how do I create Runtime Fabric? Again, easy, I click on Runtime Fabric. I'll give it a name. And I'll select Open Container Platform. You'll see there is a new option. The next thing is very, very important. This is just telling you that you need to manage Kubernetes and you're responsible also to upgrade. It's just a bit of support and some contractual. We obviously going to say yes. And then next thing, you'll find quite an easy instruction that show you what to do, which with 10 quick steps. And again, you'll see that they are very, very quick. I will be able to create this cluster. As part of my demo, I've already have a local cluster, and I will show you the local cluster. So I've already have a Red Hat and a node that set up locally on my machine. We won't show it as part of the demo, but the first step that you'll have to do is to create a namespace. And this is where we change a lot of things. You install our information of namespace, and we only need to know what's in within those namespace. So we just take this and we will then copy it to the command line and we run it. I've already run it in advance for us. So how does it look from the platform? You will see that basically we have a project called Runtime Fabrics, and we have now a namespace where we will install our containers and our pods for the Runtime Fabric. Now let's go back. The second thing we're going to do, we're going to create pull requests. And this is to be able, to pull those images. Again, you take this command from here, you run it on a terminal, and it's done. And then you'll be able now to pull up those images and those operators. Second thing, we're going to go to Operation Hub. And this is when you'll see it's quite easy to use. So here you'll see that we have a certified operator called RTF. We will choose the runtime of a Fabric operator, and we click install. Obviously, on the absence of time, because it does take time, I've already installed it, but it should take you no more than 3 minutes, and you'll see it all in our instructions. Once you install it, you just go to install operators, and you'll see the operators being installed. It's also certified. And what are we going to do? We then will create a Runtime Fabric environment. And here, what do? We just go back into our, first of all, our installation guide. So we've already done, the 5 steps. So we're quite easy, just a namespace. We had a certified operator. And the next thing we're going to have to do is just to take the activation data. This is to be able to activate it and license. And that's all. Once you've done that, you will be able to have the pods and the cluster around it. Now let's see how does it look after you install it. As I told you, I did install it in advance just to save us time. So once we install it, what you will see over here, that you will see that we have actually the activation data and the license around it. And a nice, great view that I like is I go to the project, and then you can see that as part of the RTF project, I'll have some RTF, what we call namespace. And this is what I like again, or what our customer really like about Red and OpenShift. I can see that I have 5 pods installed, and we install agent, certified rural. This is to renew certification, cluster status, services, and some caching. And that's all you've done. So the runtime fabric, but then we will install those pods. What you will see, once everything is correct, let's go back into our platform, the runtime fabric, and we will absorb the environment. So once you've gone all those steps, your cluster, your runtime fabric is now ready. We will get a nice green button that says, well, look, the health status is all and all done. And then what you will do, you will associate it to which environment, and whoever is familiar with the platform is similar to the way things work. So this is where can I use it? So we can use, the same one for demo, sandbox, or QAs. Obviously, the best practice is to have different one for testing and different one for production. And that's all we've done. The runtime fabric, as you saw, certifier, and we've done this. The next thing we're going to have to do is we're going to have to set an ingress template. So, and again, we supply you templates as part of our documentation. What you'll do, it's a YAML base. It will tell you which namespace those templates is going to go. How do I access the application? I will create it, and you can use it via command line or via the great interface that the OpenShift provide you, and you are ready to deploy your application. Let's go now and deploy an application with a few quick steps. So again, to deploy the application, we're going to use the platform. I'm going to go here to application. And as you can see, on my environment, I got Cloud Hub 2, which is the shared space. I already have an application that I've deployed of Runtime Fabric, but for the sake of demo, I'm going to deploy another one. So I'm going to choose Deploy Application. I'm going to choose the application name. In this case, it's going to be Account API. So let's pretend that you have created an account API, you've tested it locally, and you want to deploy it on Runtime Fabric. Once we go to deployment target, we will choose the Runtime Fabric option. You'll see that we have RTF OpenShift demo. We will select this. And then we'll choose the file. In this case, I've already tested it and I've uploaded it to Exchange, again, for easy and for fast and speedability. So I will select the account API. Then here I will select what is the runtime version.
Sorry, Yoshi, are you showing that selections? Because we are still seeing your Create Runtime Fabric screen.
You share? I do see. Sana, you don't see it?
We see your Create Runtime Fabric, that screen. Is that a screen that you like?
No, I see a deploy application. Okay, you're sharing your screen. Okay, I'll try again. Sorry.
Yeah, that is what I'm seeing.
I'll do it
Unless
again.
otherwise. Because I noticed that you already moved to the next step, but you're not showing that screen.
Yeah, no worries. Okay. Is it?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's
Yeah,
get
maybe.
started with this one.
Yeah, I did. Interesting. It does say that I'm sharing the screen. Thanks, Eva. Okay, so let me repeat it. So I'm going to deploy an application. I just choose an application name. On a deployment target, I will choose Runtime OpenShift. Of course, I have the Runtime Fabric a deploy application. I will choose the file, the jar. In this case, I pull it up out of Exchange. I've tested it locally. I will choose what is the CPU that I need, what is the CPU limit that it's going to consume, and what is the memory the application need. And then for a few steps, again, quite easy, I'm just going to say deploy application. That's all. Now it's deploying. It's create a cluster. It's going to create one pod because I've only chose one replica. Let's go again and see how does it look from the OpenShift point of view. Each environment will have its own namespace. And what you can see over here, you can see that I've already had an hello world, and I already have an account API pod, which I've created. I can then go over here and I can see the logs. Here you will see very soon the logs of the application. This is the MuleSoft application that you can use. And then you can also see from an infrastructure view what is happening with the pod. It creates an image, initiate, just gives you a status. While it does that, which is overall very, very quickly, again, and the reason why quickly, just because of the Kubernetes, I want to show you what can you absorb from OpenShift. This is something again that I really like. We have the absorb and the NZ operators. They supply us, first of all, alerting. You can set your alert from the CPU or from the API consumption. They also supply some great dashboards that you can use from an API performance. We can also, for example, go from the pods and see what the CPU usage on each of those. And this gives you those infrastructure visibility that you really need. So let's go back and see the application. The application now should be already deployed. As you can tell, as you can see, quite quickly deployed. And this is how easy it was to deploy an application on runtime fabrics. So let's summarize what we've seen. Let's summarize one of it. We've seen how easy it was to deploy on runtime fabric using the operators and to set it up. And we've seen how easy with a quick few steps to deploy an application on runtime fabric. And also there is the speed that comes with it as part of Kubernetes. The benefits I've already mentioned before, but after you show the demo, again, you'll be able to deploy it anywhere, lower cost and the complexity is part of it. It's more customized to what your organization needs and the security standards. It provides you future-proof foundation. And out of the box, you're going to get those monitoring tools that I've just shown you and the auto-scaling out of the box, which is something very important to our customers. Lastly, before I go to the question, we actually have a big customer in Bank of America that actually used it. And a key driver was to use OpenShift to get improved flexibility, consistency, stability. Because the on and off-prem environment were constantly changing, speed and agility was something that very important. Using the new approach, one of the biggest bank over there, they product the support of RTF on OpenShift, and they provide a common way to manage and deploy. They be able to innovate and use other part of their organization, other part of the tool set that Red Hat OpenShift provided them. And by accelerating the application effort, the customer can focus on what they really care, delivering real-time support to a world-class customer experience, which is very important. So now I'm going to go and get the question from resource, and I think this is where I recommend to people how to start on it. So we have a few things. First of all, it's from MuleSoft, some documentation. There's also the the OpenShift operators, the documentation. Oh, sorry, you still. I don't know why it doesn't.
Yeah, it's all right. I think Yossi, I think probably we should jump off to the Q&A because we have already overrun time. So let me just quickly share my screen. This is last screen. It's just Yossi, the Q&A resources. You will definitely going to get your deck when we share that to the site. Can you all see my screen? Yossi, I think you have to unshare that so that I can show mine. I see that there's a lot already has a list of questions that fill up. So let me just share my screen. So what's going on? That's
I think we lost Eva for a moment. In the meantime, oh, she's back actually. Eva, can you hear us? Yep. Oh, good. Thank you. Eva, you're on mute at the moment.
Yeah. Sorry, guys, I have successfully shared. Okay, Mark, we have already shown you the demo, so I think we will skip the first questions. Let's jump straight to the second question. So, yeah, Yongxiang has asked, can RTF installations to be done with any OpenShift accounts or sometimes accounts with MuleSoft RTF installation enabled?
Look, if you already have an OpenShift account and you have the environment, it should be available on your certified operator, and you should be able to start on it.
Good.
Yeah.
Thanks, Yoshi. And the next question for Mark, are the ports in the OpenShift counting towards the MuleSoft Cloud CPU?
Yes, it is. As part of our licensing, and if you can cover, of course, this is the way we. Yes, it is the pods. It's in general. Yep. Obviously, when it comes to runtime manager, we look, and this is something that we have just changed around July. We look on the CPU. So there's two way. We either see on what is the node. So how much how much CPU you have actually allocated to the node, or we can, if you saw on the application, there was the CPU limit. So we take this CPU limit and we accumulate it to your licensing. So it does it does needs to be compliance and to meet to what is your agreement.
Thanks, Yoshi.
On that,
Sana,
so
you want to add something? Yeah.
yeah, I had to actually add one more thing on that one. So very quickly. So on that front, like if Mark's question is asking around, is it actually going towards the existing your Cloud Hub licenses? It is not, because for RTF you need to separate set of license to the Cloud Hub, because the Cloud Hub works based on the V cores. It is not based on the vCPUs. Whereas the RTF and your on-prem instances, they work based on the vCPUs or the CPU based. So for that, you have to have a different licenses with MuleSoft. So if you already have Cloud Hub, there's a way that you can actually translate them into your vCPUs. Then you can actually work with the account executives to do that one. But yeah, like there's a subtle difference. I'm not sure what was that the exact question. So I just thought I'll add that point.
Yeah,
No,
thanks,
good,
Harshana,
Hassan.
for clarifying that. But Mark, we hope that we answer your questions. But if you still have any queries, feel free to type it into the link that we share of the Q&A. So while waiting for more questions to come in, I think I have one question to probably throw it to Yoshi with the interesting topics today. So what OpenShift services could we support?
What OpenShift services can we support? Sorry.
Or what versions, I'll say, what version of the self-managed OpenShift the MuleSoft support?
Oh, does it? Okay, so it's before 4, 6, and 10. This is what we support in the moment. So 4, 6, and 10, but it keeps changing. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. And he said any license required from Red Hat?
Is there any license required for where? That's a very good question. Thanks, Eva. Look, obviously, if you have OpenShift in place and you already have a license there, as I said, you should be able to install the operator and charge users. But if you're not, you will have to require and to add another license. What's happening commonly, and I suggest if you are looking and you're interested to do it, is to contact our account executive and customer success team, and they will put you in touch with the team in OpenShift, and they will then have to supply also license from their side.
Yeah, I saw the next questions. Can we manage the API deployed in RTF from Cloud Hub, or can we can only deploy it?
No, well, again, they separate. I guess it's the separate way to manage them. Yes, so you manage the API and not throughout Cloud Hub. You manage them to runtime fragments. We just, I guess, saw in the demo. I'm sorry if some people has missed it. Yes, so when you deploy the application, yes, when you choose the application, you choose where you deploy it, and then you'll be able to manage it there. And from a runtime fabric, and again, it's different place. You'll have to manage the runtime fabric environment. And when I say manage, you might, for example, we just released version 2.1, and if you guys show I had actually a yellow button saying, oh, you need to upgrade, so you'll need to upgrade those environment, but they're separate. Yes, so they manage differently. Yes, if that's makes sense.
Okay, thanks. All right, the last questions. What is the difference between current RTF ingress supplied by MuleSoft and the one shown in the demo?
Well, that's a great question. Thanks for that. So you need to actually, before that, we need to install Nginx as part of it. We don't need to do it anymore. I guess Red Hat provide you, I guess, those templates, and then once you initiate it, once you deploy the application, you then create an ingress to your application. This is the difference between those two. Yes, because before that you had to install extra tools to do it, an extra framework, but we will not do it to do it anymore with Runtime Fabric on OpenShift.
Thanks. Anything else to ask Harshana before we closed up and jump into trivia? Because I don't see any questions that is coming in from today's audience. And thanks for everybody, participants and also attendance. Harshana, you have anything to add with regards of all the questions asked?
I'm good, actually. Thank you very much.
Yeah. All righty. So I think the most excited.
Yes, sorry, we do have one more thing. Yes, installing an ingress will be a client post because you control how you access what is the host name, what is the DNS, and the template. Yes, we will supply the template. Obviously, if you want for the dev and creating it, we can supply. But yes, it is your way. And then let's go to trivia. Sorry, this is the last questions. Thanks for great questions, guys.
Yeah. Oh, good. All right. So we're going to jump into the trivia. I think everybody is waiting for a long time. Can you all see my screen? Then we have like 28 attendees today. So I'm expecting at least 1/3 of you will be joining the quiz. Oh, let me just send the link again. So that's the number. There's quizzes. If you're Millie, you can join, but I will probably need to exempt you from the prize if you ever win. If you join, then you can test your knowledge. There's 2 options to join. You can either go to the join link and key in the numbers, or you can click on that link if it works for you. That will bring you directly to the page to join. I saw 4 people has come in. Just give the last minute. Yeah. Come on, folks. We have 25 odds today. And let's see.
And you can try the join my quiz all together as well. Like if you go joinmyquiz.com, it actually goes to the same link.
Yeah, I have shared that in the chat. So excluding 3 of us, will be at least 22. I'll be expecting at least 20 of you will clock in before I start. 12. Come on, keep the number going.
Yeah, this is your chance to
it's the last
win
of the year.
Meetup
I can't guarantee next year marketing is still giving out swag. So
you got your Christmas present sorted.
Yeah, and please make sure to use your real name so we can actually figure out.
No, there's no name. Use email address. Later, once the quiz starts, I'll prompt you. The first question you get prompted to key in your email address.
Oh, great.
So you'll be assured that you will get a prize if you really win the prize. 15. Come on. 16. We need at least 20. Once I started, you may not be able to join anymore. Come on. We have 25. So minus the 3 of us, you have 22 at least. So I'm seeing the 16 anymore. We're going to start soon. You only have 3 minutes. I don't want to overrun the meetup sessions and get into everybody's lunch hours. I guess no one else joined anymore. I'm going to start 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, let's see. Oh, let's go. So the first question is like 2 minutes just to get you to key in your email address. Quickly key in your name and email address because that is very important identities, because if you ever win a prize, that is how I'm going to contact you and send you the award. So make sure that you all 16 of you have submitted your email address. 13, 14, 15. Come on, 2 more persons hasn't submitted your email address. So if you ever win, I can't give you any prize. 2 more persons who have signed up for the game, but if you just want to sign up for fun without an email address, go ahead, just click skip. That way you can participate without providing your email address. It's up to you. But I'm just checking if you have joined. 15th, 1 more, last person. We need your email address. Otherwise, you can play by just skipping to the next without keying your email address. So you will be able to join the quiz, just not getting the prize if you ever win. Last person, 30 seconds or 40 seconds for you to key in your address. Key in your email address. Come on, I want to start soon. We may take another extra 2 minutes if everyone can just stay on the line for 2 minutes. The quiz is actually a very short quiz. It's only like got 4 questions. So once we have get through this, when everybody has submit their email address, and we should be safe to go. Who is the last person who has not submitted? I don't know. Someone has joined but left the conference, or someone was just on the call. 10 seconds. I'll just let it run to the end. If we have missed you, then too bad. 5 seconds, we're going to start. So, time's up. Next quest. Okay, so the first is polling questions. It's just checking whether, which represented. We have many of the architect and developers that come into Meetup. We usually just do a survey count. If you can just submit your survey, but these are optional things. If you don't want to reveal who you are, you're fine. Just skip next. We're all good. So this is a bit shorter. We're not going to wait until the end. The last person has probably just left the rooms. Okay, next questions is asking you about some experience with MuleSoft, whether you're from the old times where Mule 3, or do you have both the experience, or your new MuleSoft world where you have never known about what is MuleSoft. So let's see, 14, 15, 16. I think I just need to wait until 16 and I can skip to the next question, right? 14 and the 2 more %, or you can't decide yet. Yep. 5 seconds, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, we go start right there. First questions. Let's see whether you can score. Yeah, we see the question view. All right, 15th of you have submitted your questions. 2 more %, 1 more last %. Please submit your answer for these questions and we'll check it out. Who is the leaderboard? We have Sarita. The next leaderboard. Next questions. Runtime Fabric can be deployed on 30 seconds. What is your answer? 10 seconds left. 5 seconds left. And time's up. And let's check it out. Who is the leaderboard? It's still Sarita. I'm just curious. I think this Quizzer leaderboard has some issues because I can't imagine that everybody is getting a 0 score at the bottom. But don't worry, I've played these tools before and all the historical records. When I check back the historical records, it will be correct. It's just that on screen during stage, the leaderboard is not really working properly. So next time I should just disable the leaderboard. Oh, last person not answering this time. I only got 15 answers. Okay. Yeah, I think we can forget about the leaderboard. Yeah, the leaderboard on stage is not really working. Okay, Runtime Fabric's benefits. I think this is the last questions. Or the second last questions. Come on, that's your last chance. Let's see. Okay. And who is the winner for this meetup? Okay. Is it going to show our leaderboard? Okay. Oh my gosh. The first winner is Pratik. Congratulations! And all three of you having a prize. So I will reach out after this meetup to individual of you to send you the instructions to claim your prize. But overall, thank you so much for anyone that is stay on the call until the end of the sessions. And thanks for your support and thanks for your advocates for all our meetup sessions all this year throughout. So have a nice, lovely day and have a nice, wonderful holiday break. Thanks, Shan.
And thank you to you, Yossi and Eva as well.
Thank you, Harshana. I'm going to stop the recordings. Well done, team.